Apple Cup, Washington State. Washington trying to end a little bit. It's like they lost 3 of their last 4. Who you got and why?
I got Washington in this one because Washington does not lose games to Mike Leach teams. They just don't. Jimmy Lake and Pete Kwiatkowski do not lose games with the way that they coordinate against this air raid. I like them 30-24.
Chris Peterson 5-0 against Wazoo, getting you ready for Fox's big game, the Apple Cup, right here on Fox. There they go. Washington trying to make it 6 in a row against the Cougars. Game time coming up. Matter of seconds.
Today, and for the 112th time, it's the Apple Cup Series. The rivalry weekend continues here on Fox as the Washington Huskies play host to the Cougars of Washington State. And yes, we're sailgating for the very first time. Hi again, everyone. Tim Brando by my side, Spencer Tillman, Coley Harvey. You'll hear from shortly. We've got him docked. Spencer, we've been doing this a long time. We've never done something like this.
I know how to swim, but I feel uncomfortable. There are no pickup trucks around here, Timmy.
Listen, this is a big game. Both teams are going to go to bowls. But when you start talking about rivalries and domination, that's really what Washington has done to Washington State. But we're talking about Mike Leach's air raid offense, the #1 offense in the country, but it's been mastered by the Huskies.
That's right. What Mike Leach has done, Timmy, he has perfected the art of explosive plays and attacking the grass. Take a look at this play here. I'm going to show you how he's able to affect coverage. One guy in motion is impacting 3 different defenders. When you're talking a lot back there, you're not being able to play fast. So Mike Leach knows that, so he's got a guy isolated, and he's going to attack the grass back over the shoulder of the cornerback. The slant route is there, one of those explosive plays, and it really defines what they're able to do. And heretofore, not a lot of people have been able to stop him.
Well, that domination has led to some woofing, and we don't mean from players. We're talking about Jimmy Lake, the defensive coordinator of the Huskies.
Well, he's one of those guys that's managed to crack the code of this offense, right? So you go back and look at the last 6 years, and what Jimmy has said is, hey, look, we know they're predictable. In fact, he's on record as having been quoted saying, look, I hope they never change what they do on that side of the ball because it makes my job a lot easier. So we'll see if they'll make it 7 years in a row of dominance.
Captain, I've done a lot of things, but we can't call the game from here. You got to get us to land. Fire this baby up. We're headed to Husky Stadium. You stay with us. Time now for today's Progressive Game Countdown. And yeah, the fellas were having some fun. It was Merry Time open here on Fox. But at some point we had to make land. And once we did, we put Coley to work. Coley without the coach, but with a lot of good commentary down on the sideline.
Yeah, well, Tim Spence, you guys talk about the fact that the Huskies have won the last 6 games in this rivalry. That does not mean that the Cougars are lacking in confidence, though, particularly their running back, Max Borghi. Let's take a listen to what Borghi had to say earlier this week when he was asked to give a score prediction for this game.
No score for next week?
No score, but I will be scoring a lot.
Now, obviously, that created a lot of ripple waves throughout the state of Washington, particularly here in Seattle. The Huskies heard it. They paid attention to it. The other thing to note, the reason why it got so much attention is because what he said last week, going into the game against Oregon State, he guaranteed that the Cougars would win that game, become bowl eligible. It happened. We will see if he backs up his words today.
Yes, indeed. You know, he spent some time in the offseason working out with Christian McCaffrey. He fashions himself as that kind of talent, and he's averaging 7 yards per tote. There's a look at the mad scientist, now in his 8th year, but he's only 1-6 against the Huskies. That only victory coming way back in 2012. And Chris Peterson, who did so much at Boise State. Hard to believe it's already been 6 years. Did manage to get this program into the playoff a couple of years back, 5-0 against the Cougs.
Double digits in the win column last year. This is kind of foreign territory for them.
Yeah.
But again, they've had great success against this bunch. Let's see if they can rekindle that.
Yeah, life after Jake Browning has not gone as planned with Jacob Eason, who's from this area. More on him later. Tim Horn will kick it away. Washington State won the toss, elected to receive. That's not a shock. Not when you're the #1 offense in the country. Travell Harris is back deep. Number 5. He'll take it from the 7. And runs right into a roadblock at about the 18-yard line. And let's take a look at the starting lineups for Washington State. They are led by Manigwoa, the center, and those 2 tackles are going to have to play really, really well to keep them off of the quarterback. And of course, Max Borghi, aforementioned, with Tay Martin, an outstanding receiver. Aesop Winston, another guy in this air raid to keep an eye on. Anthony Gordon just keeps breaking records, pass after pass. 80 yards away from 5,000 as we open this game, and the quick slant to open taken by Desmond Patman. And Gordon, youngster from Pacifica, California, by way of San Francisco College, stepped right in where Minshew left off, Spencer.
Timmy, he did, but I'm telling you, guys like Patman are going to be the guys that step up. For this offense to work, he needs to have at least 3 receivers with balanced numbers. We talk about there being an out-pitch guy. There isn't one. He needs balance.
Stands strong in the pocket, goes to Borghi out of the backfield. He negotiates a first down up to the 32-yard line. Brandon Wellington made the stop. As we look at the Huskies defense, which is still good, not as strong as in past years, Onward Zawerke will have to play well. There have been times when he's not shown up the way they like. Tryon's an outstanding outside backer. That secondary led by Miles Bryant. This is senior day. 18 of them today for Washington, celebrated before the game got underway. Borghi trying to go with a stretch play, loses a yard.
Timmy, you talk about the defense. They're replacing 9 starters over there. Of course, they're missing the likes of Ben Burkervin and company, but they showed you on that play that they're reminiscent. They can rekindle that excitement. The way they run and populate to the football is exactly what you would expect from a Chris Peterson coach
You're
team.
looking at Jimmy Lake right there shouting out the signals. He gets some help from Pete Kwiatkowski. They collaborate to run, but the defensive signals are called in by Lake down on the sideline. 2nd down and 11.
Playing zone coverage now. Let's see if the quarterback can find a space.
Wow.
What did the protection?
How about that check down? Right to Arconado. Brandon Arconado gets it out to the 39. With the ball was ripped away late. I believe they ruled forward progress had been stopped just prior to the 40.
ruling on the field is the runner was down. 3rd down.
Well, the microphone is working for our referee today, Mark Duddy.
Well, plenty of protection you can see up here, Timmy. That wall gives him an opportunity to hit his 3rd different receiver in almost as many plays. That's what I'm talking about. He will paint the field and try to get distribution, not one single player.
The ruling on the field is a reception, and then the receiver was down on the ground for a 3rd down. The previous play is now under replay review.
I don't think there was any question that Arconado was down, but again, I think the bigger point from the development of what they want to do offensively is how they're spreading the ball between their running backs and their receivers, equally expected to be productive.
Well, you know, he is not. The knee, let's watch the knee right there. Yes. So his forward progress, and that's what I saw. At first glance, it looked as though he was actually on the defender, which meant he wasn't on the ground, but his knee hit first. So this should stand as a 9-yard pickup and a 3rd and 2 coming. They've converted 43% of the time on 3rd down, but listen, this could be 4-down territory for the mad scientist.
This offense is absolutely amazing. And Gardner Minshew, of course, was the orchestrator of it last year. His numbers this year with his quarterback, Anthony Gordon, are on par. In fact, are better in a couple of key categories.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver's knee was down. It'll be 3rd down.
Dean Belandino is back in our studios in Los Angeles. Whenever needed, we will reach out. But that time, all you needed to do was see the replay. Washington's defense has stopped 35% of the time on 3rd downs this year. Borghi on the swing pattern. And that's where this kid is so valuable. Spencer, he not only gets to the edge, but he gets there and turns upfield and goes north and south so quickly.
Well, this is where the game aligns with the option game in terms of putting people on an island. Borghi does a nice job of working to the perimeter, showing you some of that speed, but then getting right up the field to get additional yards. Again, putting so much pressure. And again, you mentioned the inflection point, Tim. It's rare that you see them convert or give up, in Washington's case, a 3rd down this early.
From the 44 of Washington. 1st and 10. Quick wide receiver hitch out to Renard Bell.
Elijah Molden to that free safety, number 3, jumps up there and makes a great play. What a way to engage and disengage quickly from a guy that's trying to block you. You're going to need plays like that from Elijah Molden and that whole backside. Miles Bryant, all of them. Cameron Williams, outstanding, talented guys, but they're going to be pressed by this offense.
2nd and 7 after the gain of 3. Bell in motion. There's the pass, and it's caught. That's Desmond Patman, the senior from San Diego, reels it in.
Twice now in this series, Patman to this side of the field. That's kind of his location. It's a trip formation, and they just go down and find the voids in the zone. You know, you got to mix it up. You know, that's what Washington's success story was. It was given a little man combination, one free. That unpredictability is what allowed them to have great success 6 consecutive seasons.
Deion McIntosh is now in the backfield with Borghi, and it's Max coming out of the backfield again. Steady diet of that. Elijah Molden, old Elijah, running him out of bounds after another healthy pickup of 6. They're getting 6-7 yards at a chunk. You look at those receptions, and that's by a lot over the closest there, including Benjamin, the youngster we saw earlier in the year from Arizona State. Borghi is just incredible, and I see a lot of Christian McCaffrey light in him.
Yeah, I don't know if he's as fast as Christian, but he's built like Christian McCaffrey, maybe just a little bit shorter than he is, but most of his production is coming on the left side of the field. That's Mike Leach stretching him.
Gordon 7 for 7, make it 8 for 8. That's a 1st down. It's Arconado. 2nd time he's targeted in this opening drive.
Now they're working Arconado now on the left side of the field as opposed to the right side where his first 2 catches came from that trips formation. So right now, if you're Washington, you better bring something different. Maybe pressure. They played a lot of zone on this series. They know they don't want to stay in man because you're going to find the open receiver with this quarterback, Anthony Gordon, who makes quick decisions, and he finds his receivers quickly.
He may get to 5,000 on this drive alone.
I just needed 80 coming in.
Yep. Looping it in the corner, back shoulder incomplete. Tay Martin was the intended receiver. Keith Taylor was with him. This kid was 50 of 70 for a career-high 606, 6 touchdowns. He did throw 3 picks, but guess what? He kept on chunking, and they came from 14 down to win the game in the last 2 minutes.
He's bided his time, and he's waited. He's got that patina of patience all over the way he handles himself.
That was just an average game. He had 9 touchdown passes against UCLA in that incredible comeback that UCLA brought to them, as you might recall. There's Borghi inside the 10, down to the 9. That probably was the most bizarre game, Spencer, of the year, the UCLA-Washington State game played earlier this season.
A couple of great minds offensively going after one another, so you expected some highlights, and another couple of great minds here. Jimmy Lake on your right there, then Mike Leach, the head coach, the mad scientist. Great success on this opening drive, painting the breadth and the width of the field against this Husky defense.
Trips receivers down to the bottom of your screen. There's the quick curl, caught by Arconado, and he's down to the 2, maybe the 1.
Yeah, I think when this series is over, Tim, what Coach Jimmy Lake is going to say, hey, look, zone is not working against these guys. He's going to try to find a way to press the issue. But I think he's got so much respect for Anthony Gordon to be able to get the ball quickly. He may feel like he's going to get burned if he tries it. Right now, this is a standing touchdown with soft coverage up top. That inside receiver is wide open right now.
Borghi, touchdown. That was an in-your-face 11-play drive, 74 of the 80 yards needed to 5,000.
Washington State is reporting as number 16.
You know, Washington's pretty stout up front, but they just had 3 men with their hand down, gaps over the guards. That was the soft spot in the front, and the Washington State offense just attacked that weak area, found a way in.
Blake Mazza, the first ever Lou Groza finalist, who was a perfect 18 of 18 before missing his first extra point of the year last week. Boots through the extra point. Oh, Jimmy Lake was doing some woofing prior to the game. Was a little more politically correct when speaking to us. Now I can understand why after the opening drive. Fox College Football is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. That touchdown for Borghi. Just tied Zach Moss of Utah for the Pac-12 lead overall. 11 rushing touchdowns, 4 receiving. And by the way, Zach is some player. What an opportunity they have coming up this weekend.
I just love his good-natured confidence. And again, some people think that that's kind of off-putting, but I love it. I love a guy that's sure of himself, because you've heard me say this, Tim, a lot. Confidence comes from demonstrated ability. If he was whooping and not producing, that's a different thing. But this kid right here is the real deal.
Hey, they asked the question, and they gave him an answer. I'm not going to give you the score, but I'll tell you I'm going to score. And I mean, I love the little 2-pop that he gave the desk.
The double pop.
The double pop. Sean McGrew on the return. And the Huskies will have outstanding field position, 37 yards. Boy, Anthony Garden was slinging it at every location. We do have a flag, so we'll keep it here, so hang on just a moment. We'll hold our audience before going to break. Wait and see what the flag is all about.
They'll sort it out, but I tell you what, the coverage unit better make sure that they're not a sieve.
Foul for unsportsmanlike conduct against either team. Both players were just tangled up at the end of the play. First down, Washington.
He just wanted to ruin our break. He just wanted to ruin our break. We had such rhythm there. Stay right where you are.
Blow hard.
Fox College Football is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. That's seen from 1905. November 3rd. How about that?
Did you call
a 5-5 game? No, I wasn't on hand for that one. The lineups for this Washington team: up front, Bayan Avalu is going to be starting in place of Jason Kirkland at right guard. And that's going to be a factor today. They would like to believe they can run at will against this team. Bocelli is a go-to receiver. Ahmed is one of 5 you'll see in the backfield. Aaron Fuller and the tight end Hunter Bryant are the main go-tos for this offense, led by the transfer Jacob Eason, who's sacked on the opening play. That's Willie Taylor III, the redshirt sophomore, coming through from Bleckley County High School, Cochran, Georgia. That's a loss of 5.
Willie Taylor III is coming from the outside again here. That's where he's able to make hay to get home. Everybody's trying to get home. The hands down, violent off the edge. You know, a lot of times when you're facing a big old tackle like that, you're typically not strong enough, but Willie is. And he says, Willie won't go.
Rock Ballantoni is the new defensive coordinator, taking over for Tracy Clays 5 games in. Eason is going to air it out down the sidelines and incomplete for Jordan Chin, number 82. The confidence of Jacob Eason has been shattered to some extent. This young man, rated the top player coming out of Stevens, Washington, before signing and going to Georgia. He struggled some this year, Spencer, and especially since we saw them against Arizona. They've been lacking that go-to explosive out pitch, relying so heavily on Bryant at tight end and Aaron Fuller. And if they don't play big, then he has a bad day.
They expect him to have success against Oregon State and then Colorado, but instead he was mediocre at 56% completion. They need him to play better.
3rd down and 15. Pressure off the edge again. Taylor III got a hand on him, and that's Bynum, who stopped behind the line.
Now Jacob does do an excellent job of moving within the pocket. You don't move the change, and so his counterpart, Anthony Gordon, is besting him in this series so far. But I think what you're looking at is the confidence, and I think you nailed it, Tim, just a second ago. That offensive line has got to give him enough time, and then the limited receivers. He doesn't have an out pitch wide out of here, but somebody's got to get open to pay it off.
Losing Kirkland really hurts at guard. Joel Whitford will put it away, number 32. Harris is back deep. He will let it bound, and it lands like a 9-iron, and
it came back,
now comes back the other way. Washington can't cover it until it's back to about the 14-yard line. A punt of 45. Gordon is 6 yards away from 5,000. Watch the records get passed by all day long today on Fox Game 2. Anthony Gordon moving in on 5,000 passing yards this season.
He's going to get there pretty quick, Tim. He was 9 for 10 on that last scoring drive they had. They tend to get them in bunches. They've got trips down here and 2 receivers open, soft side of the field to the right. Right now, completion.
Borghi out of the backfield. That'll net the 17-yard line. Gain of 3, so he got halfway to a 5,000 mark. Elijah Molden. By the way, Washington had outscored opponents 107-16 before the first touchdown was scored by Washington State. So they're not accustomed to falling behind early.
As Chris Peterson looks on, I think they're going to have to try to do some more disguising and rolling out of coverage into more some man concepts, because they're stealing right now. Nice.
On the shallow cross, it's complete to Martin, and that gets him to the 21-yard line. That's 4, and that's 5,000 yards this season. 5,001, and he got it done with 6:40 and counting remaining in the first quarter.
A lot of wood to chop, so he's going to put some pad on that if the first series is any indication of the success they're having today. And meantime, Washington has got to come with some kind of pressure. Look, they've still got 3 down linemen, but no pressure, so to speak, of to this point in the game.
Yeah, 3rd down and 3. It's easy to break up or crack the code when you're getting pressure up the middle like this.
There you go.
Like this right here. And you just threw it up for grabs and it's incomplete. I'm not sure they didn't rule him down. Potoai, number 8, was the guy that got back there to him. I'm not sure they ruled him down, though. I think they're going to say that forward progress was stopped.
Number 1 was in the area. Incomplete pass.
Wow.
4th down.
Got a break there. The whistle could have easily been blown. Very dangerous to have thrown it up there, but it does help them in terms of where the ball is scrimmaged. It stays at the 21 after the incompletion.
Chris Peterson not happy about it, but Benning Potoai did a fantastic job playing what they call a zero technique. He can go either to the left or the right to get to the quarterback, but he got home. Impressive.
Oscar Dragusevic, the seldom used punter for Washington State, with a high spiral for Aaron Fuller, and he is wrapped up immediately. 49-yard boot. Great coverage by Marcus Strong. Fox College Football is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button, get mortgage. Now they call this place the most outstanding setting in college football. And when you visit for the very first time, you can certainly see that this is more than a house. Sponsored by Rocket Mortgage, by Quicken Loans. And what other house would you possibly see this?
How about that? American Eagle. That's unbelievable.
It's just incredible. I come here, Spencer, and I think about the American sportsman Kurt Gowdy, who used to do so many of his shows in this area. That's Richard Newton carrying it up to the 30-yard line. Kurt was a mentor of mine, someone I always looked up to and counseled with in my early days, and he used to talk about coming here and in this area to go fishing as well as hunting. Hiking was always big in this particular area. He and his old pal Phil Harris would spend a lot of time with some nice spirits too, I might add.
Hard to beat that scene though, right there, man. That's about as good as it gets. Surrounded by mountains on all 4 sides. Impressive.
2nd and 8.
Got a flag.
Yep, and Eason lets her rip all the way down and caught. That's Bynum down to the 10. We'll check the flag. Thrown in an area where you'd suspect potential holding.
I think this is coming back, Tim.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and that's
Offside. Defense.
Oh, wow.
92. That penalty is declined.
Big break there.
That was a huge break.
Down.
Will Rogers, 92, was in the zone there. He got into the neutral zone. That's a beautiful route, Spence.
Yeah, it's a great route. It's just a streak route. He's going downfield, and again, that he had to have lined up in the neutral zone because again, I didn't see any movement.
No, I didn't either.
But they got him on it. Clearly, his head was in that neutral area, and I was just about to say, prior to that play, you can see his head. Maybe not so much clear from that angle, but the bottom line is the officials down the line saw it, and Mike Leach not happy about the outcome there.
Savon Ahmed is the lone setback, a tight formation, and Ahmed will carry it. Not much room, maybe a yard pickup, and that's all. Travion Brown, 82, the freshman from Moreno Valley, California. Litchfield Christian High School making the stop.
He played with great leverage, did Brown on that play, shedding and releasing Rogers in there with him as well. So 82 with a fantastic job of shedding one guy that was all over him.
He wants to be a canine officer one day. He just pulled down a Husky. inside the 5, down to the 3. Pickup of 8. Marcus Strong with a tackle for the Cougars.
Tim, one of the things that Washington State will do prior to the ball is try to move at the snap, right? They try to stem, whether it's this way or that way. The bottom line is they move the opposite direction. They should be going the direction I just drew on your line. Instead, they moved away from it. It was a starboard-side charge. You need to be going to the right side. It was a bad decision. Guessing wrong. Washington beat them.
3rd down 1 from the 3. Eason keeps it. Touchdown.
His helmet came off following the play. He has to leave the game for 1 down. Number 10.
I don't think he minds.
Well, he's excited. He should be, because, you know, prior to that play, I think they had, besides the big explosive that they had, +1 in overall yardage to match the 81 that their counterparts were able to put up on their first drive. So in an explosive way, the Huskies get it back.
Peyton Henry with the extra point. We're off to a great start on the day after Thanksgiving. 5 plays, 71 yards. The big 57-yarder to Bynum, the key play. Chris Peterson's club strikes back. You see Eason, you know, there's no denying it. We've been in town long enough, Spencer, to have picked up on just how disappointed they've been in the fact that this offense has been lacking dynamic plays, explosive plays, and that's exactly what Bush Hamdan told us. That was what they needed right there.
Absolutely. They need to have protection, first of all, Tim, and you're going to run a route down the field. You can't do that and not have protection up front. And, you know, the bigger picture was, and Chris Peterson is not one to make excuses, but they don't have a Myles Gaskin. They don't have a run guy that can demand the numbers down in the box to protect them. I think ultimately, if you got a chance, as Bush Hamdan does, the offensive coordinator, you're going to take some shots if you got the protection.
That was Eason's first rushing touchdown at Washington ever. He had one while at Georgia. Tim Horn will kick it away. Harris is back deep. And it'll go through for a touchback. Well, One to Watch is sponsored by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side, and Joe Tryon is one of those guys that do everything linebacker. The defense is really created in a lot of ways, Spencer, for the second level to be the most productive, and he's certainly that, the sophomore from Renton, Washington.
Well, he's a talented player, to be sure, Tim, and I think what this defense, it knew coming in that it would have to play complementary football because of what they were missing on the offensive side of the ball. No Myles Gaskin, no run threat to speak of, and not an out pitch as a receiver.
Borghi the setback. Gordon dumps it underneath to Borghi. And he's ahead to the 31, a gain of 6. That's really what they're trying to accomplish. Get 6 or more on first down. Ryan Bowman, 55, the junior from Bellevue, Washington, with the tackle. 2nd and 4.
Great job of playing team defense with just those 3 defensive linemen coming off those blocks to make a play. Good hustle up front for the Huskies. Just 3 rushing.
Pass incomplete. Arconado, the intended receiver, it was airmailed just a bit.
He got pressure that time from Joe Tryon coming off the edge. Number 9, you can see him coming right here with a nice dip and the shoulder to get around. I guarantee you, talk about peripheral vision. That was one of the things that Coach Leach said his quarterback has. Excellent peripheral vision. In those particular situations, you don't want to see that guy coming off the edge. Great pressure.
On the O'Brien, Maxwell, and Manning Award list, Gordon looking to convert a 3rd and 4. Again, that quick curl and the check down to Arconado for a first down.
Yep, they got the nice mesh concepts, and all that means is Mike Leach has is a staple of this air raid, receivers crossing. This particular case is in a shallow area of about 5 yards. And again, you got a dinged up receiver on that play, but the success of this play is predicated on protecting long enough on the offensive side, and then defensively discerning where those threats are coming, as Arconado has been banged up with that hand, looks like.
I'm wondering if he didn't jam his finger with the way he reached out to reel that one in, Spencer. The pass was not a perfectly thrown ball. Heck of a catch in a lot of respects. Looked like he was holding on to one of those fingers. That's a shallow cross to Bell. Raynard Bell gets it to the 40. That's a gain of 3. Here's a look at that previous play and see what may have happened to Arconado.
He's got a quick release, and he's got a cannon for an arm. And that ball, he caught the back end of that ball, double clutched it, but caught it. And let's see if that hand.
I thought on the catch, maybe the fingers, Spencer.
Yeah, possibly.
I think because he was holding what looked to be fingers on that left hand of his, and he had to reach out, as you like to say, and grab it. Didn't let the ball come up on him. 2nd and 7. Nice stunt by Washington up front for pressure, and now while flushed, he gets it out to Borghi. That's always the option that's there at the end. Elijah Molden with the stop. What an out pitch, though, to have. A guy as sure-handed as Max Borghi's your check down.
Borghi's able to show you he's got athletic talent, but so does Anthony Gordon. You know, he's not necessarily known as a runner, but able to elude the pressure off the outside to get the ball underneath for a streaking receiver. Just getting it in bite-sized pieces, but it's effective nonetheless. Nice. Trying to match that 13-play scoring drive they had to start this off.
18 out of 21 plays have been in the air. Borghi has 6 receptions to lead the way. Empty backfield. They go trips in the bubble screen. It's caught. It's Harris. It's a first down. Tell you, Washington, as you like to say, Spencer, doing everything they can. Well, now they're going to mark it short. He got a right foot spot as opposed to a left foot spot, and it's short, and I'm a little stunned by that.
That was a great job of second effort to get it. What I thought was an obvious first down.
Yeah, that's an amazingly poor spot. And I think the mad scientist may agree with us.
You know, it's some reason that I don't think he's really full of trepidation about this, Tim, because he's moving the ball pretty much at will right now and patient about getting it in 3- and 5-yard chunks. Now a couple of links. Short.
Inches away. And I thought it was a poor spot. I really did. I thought he was a good half yard beyond that.
The trips look right here. All you do is just step a little pivot route, stand down and get the ball in your hands. It's really about getting the ball seated. I mean, get upfield. They treat that like a run.
That's not close. I mean, that should be a first down.
What's the over-under on whether or not this is a run? What do you think?
I'd be surprised if Leach doesn't demand that they review it.
I think he thinks he can get it. I don't think he's. Tim, we've been in games where he's actually run the ball 3 times in the course of a game. He's not bothered by this one bit.
I know he's not, but don't you think he should review that? I mean, they have reviewed down, markings before. This to me is an obvious one.
The ruling on the field is that the runner is short of the first down. The previous play is now under replay review.
Yeah, good, because that needed to be reviewed. Jim Fogeltans is our review official. And it's very rare when you see those reviews lead to overturns, but in this case, that looked awfully obvious to me that on the second effort, the ball was where it needed to be. Dean Blandino is back in Los Angeles. What say you, Dean?
Yeah, this is a tough one because you don't have a big line. You're in between the big lines. And it looks like, if I'm looking at this, I think he made it. You look at the knee, you look at the ball, it looks like he got to the line to gain. I just don't know without a look right down the line, is it indisputable? Does it jump out? Again, I think it's a first down, but they're going to have to make a decision here, and we'll see what they do.
The runner reached the line to gain. It'll be first down for Washington State at the 48.5-yard line.
Dino, a quick take. You recapped that this week in your review tapes, a similar situation where the big line. Can you share that real quickly with our listening audience, the difference between a small line and a big line?
Yeah, so you're talking about, 5-yard intervals, right? The 45 to 50. You have a good point of reference. When you're at the 42, it's tougher to find that point of reference. but obviously they felt they had enough to overturn it there.
Good stuff.
This may be myth rather than fact, but whenever I see a right foot spot, it's always further back. Left foot spot, it's always further up. A little quick curl over the middle. And it's caught by Raynard Bell. But in live call, to me, that was absolutely an automatic. It should have been reviewed. I don't know if Leach demanded it or not, but I'm glad that Jim Fogeltanch decided to ring down and say, let's take a look at this.
I think Dino's take, though, is appreciative because, again, with the line of reference on a big line, it's less indisputable in that particular case from the official standpoint. He can see better.
Pereira will be glad to know that we watch the tapes they put out every week. Bubble screen to Patman. And he's ahead for another first down at the 40. What an entertaining first quarter we've had, partner.
It has been. Washington has done it long and slow, but the bottom line is they've been able to score. That's what Chris Peterson said he wanted. He wants explosive plays.
I just wish we could get back on the boat before we head to Stanford. You know, I just sort of would love to go back there. But Notre Dame and Stanford are waiting for us tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving on Fox. Game 2 of a holiday special. Stay right where you are. For years, the Cougars have been ascending the mountain of the most passing yards in the Leach era. Somewhere in that mountain, the Cougars have scaled past the Bears, climbed past Cowboys, ascended past Clemson, and ascended ahead of the Red Raiders, where the scientist once was. Yes, the Cougar reached the peak of passing yards over the last 8 years. Wow.
Those things get up to about 220 pounds, man, and they go about 50 miles an hour. They're fast. They're big, kind of like this offense has been today.
I love the yodeling in our show. 18 of 21 for Gordon, 116 yards so far. That's 6.5 yards per reception. So a lot of dinking and dunking in this offense, where a passing play, in effect, is a run. Borghi and McIntosh are in there. Check down to Borghi again. Why not? And the yards after catch. Yakety yak, don't talk back. Give it to him. Wellington makes the stop. That's a gain of 8. It was 2nd and 2.
Yeah, partner, it was almost like Anthony Gordon was enjoying the pocket so much. The backs and the two options he had on the perimeter were running out of bounds almost before he got the ball out. It was because he didn't have to throw. No imminent pressure on him. And that's bad news if you're the Washington Huskies.
Bell, number 9, is checked back in for Washington State. He's gotten into the slot. Lone setback now, Deion McIntosh.
Just 3 rushers.
There's that screen again. Martin, Tay Martin stopped behind the line of scrimmage this time. A loss of 1.
And Ryan, the left tackle, number 63, was trying to get out there. Bolden and company denying the opportunity again. And so Gordon's got to recalibrate that. And the mad scientist is in a position now where he's facing a little bit of stress as they get down here closer to the red zone. Let's see how they navigate this space.
3rd down and 3 from the 34. But again, this is 4-down territory for Washington State.
Great matchup between these two geniuses here.
Gordon's going to tuck it. 1st down. He's to the 31-yard line, a gain of 4. Josiah Bronson, number 90, senior from Kent, Washington, making the tackle.
That time you got underneath with just a 3-man rush, but you're going to see somebody come into your camera just late, and this is the spy who's been assigned to Gordon here. A nice job of open field, getting after the quarterback to ensure that he doesn't get downfield. Now, they're not particularly worried about him per se because he's not known as a rusher or a runner, but he can be that outlet if they continue to get protection.
1st and 10 from the 31. Gordon dumps it again on the cross. It's Bell. Taken out of bounds inside the 10. That's Cameron Williams, number 16, the freshman from Bakersfield, California, with the stop.
Bell does a nice job of coming cross back over to this side here. You can see him in motion, Tim. And the eyes right before that snap had him there the whole time. Gordon knew where he wanted to go with that football. The pre-snap read did it, and he put his eyes opposite of the direction where he wanted to go. And I guarantee you that fooled some of those guys on the back end. Smart heads up word.
Washington is not getting pressure up the middle from Potowahi at all. Underneath the curl, it's caught to the 3 by Tay Martin.
The one time they got to him, Tim, they're still staying in this zone kind of look. The one time they got to him was they didn't blitz. It was a 3-man rush, and they won at the nose position. That's been rare, though. Unable to affect the quarterback, Anthony Gordon. They're holding steadfast to this zone package.
There's Podawai.
There's Jimmy Lake right there.
He needs more push up front. He's not getting it right now. 2nd and goal. Trips to the top of your screen. Bell in the slot. Slant. Incomplete.
Great defense.
That was well covered, wasn't it?
Miles Brandt, strong safety. Bryant does a nice job of sticking that hand in there and plucking it out. Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't get any better than this. Caught in between 2 defenders. I think the ball was placed where it needed to be, but Bryant did a fantastic job of getting his hand in there.
Bell was actually, ball hit his shoulder pads. There was a dart right in there. It was well defended, no doubt about it, but he could have caught it.
Yeah, but awareness, too much awareness is not a good thing down here. You got to be aware where people are, but you can't be scared when that ball comes flying.
3rd and goal.
Got the swing.
Gordon with time. Negotiates. Now lets it go after the pressure finally got to him. Incomplete. The pressure coming from Edefwan Lofosio. The red shirt. Ball came out pretty weird, but that kid from Alaska's played really smart and big-time football of late.
That ball came out of his hand. Again, there's a flag on the play.
Intentional grounding, offense to quarterback. There was no receiver in the area. The quarterback was out in the tackle box, but the ball did not cross the line of scrimmage. It's loss of down, 4th down.
So Ulofosio forces this as he comes in late, number 48.
Number 50
An original walk-on, by the way.
Is number 16.
Well, I disagree that the number 9 was sitting there right underneath him, Bell. You know, the ball kind of came out of his hand. He didn't really want it to come out. You're right, the pressure got to him, but I think there was a receiver in the vicinity.
I would agree. By the way, Mazza says, no problem, I've got this. The Groza finalist. 51, his longest. We mentioned 18 out of 19. His only miss coming a week ago. He had been perfect prior to that. Snap, spot, and the kick is good. Happy Thanksgiving from the Apple Cup on Fox. Fox College Football is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. That may be the shot of the weekend right there, Spence.
There's so much patriotism, everything stored. I mean, the ability for this guy right here, man, he just means so much. Beautiful. Look at that. That profile is impeccable.
It is. Some parts of the country, they'll take that eagle and put it in a cage and keep it all week long. As you look at the ball control story, Washington State in control. Look at that, Spencer. That's an amazing number. 1431 to just 351 for the Huskies.
They're trying to do like that at Eagle. They take their prey up in the air. If it's a snake, it doesn't have any momentum. That's when they're at their strongest, and they'll put them to death.
Ahmed. And time now for a T-Mobile game break. Here's Sam Farber in Los Angeles.
Nebraska trying to get bowl eligible for the first time since 2016. They're hosting 17th ranked Iowa. Huskers give it to Wyatt Mazur, the former walk-on, with a 9-yard touchdown. Ties things at 24 entering the 4th quarter in Lincoln. Back to Tim and Spencer in beautiful Seattle, Washington.
Thank you, Sam. I think that's a very important game, Spencer, for Scott Frost in Nebraska in year 2.
No question.
To get them into a bowl situation, that is, I think, necessary for him.
Much has been said about the maybe internal challenges he's faced, probably a little bit more staunch than most imagine. But he's doing a good job.
Eason's pass is high, and it's brought down by Hunter Bryant. And the big tight end lumbers ahead for a first down. A 20-yard pickup on the opening play of this drive.
Great ball of getting that out. I think Armani Marsh may have got pressure on the opposite side late. You can see the trip formation. You got a nice little pivot route down at the lower portion. That's an easy pitch and catch, but the ability to make a guy miss in the first pass and then just get leverage downfield. You can see the eyes are set where he wants to go with the football. That's stealing.
Bush Hampton said we got to target our tight ends a lot more than we did last week. It's his 47th reception of the year. Ahmed hammered by Jihad Woods, number 13. at the point of attack that time.
Bernard Bell and Bernard just all in the backfield on that play. And that nose tackle position, whether it's Dallas Hobbs, number 98, or Bell, the single-digit guy, number 9, those guys, if they can get in the backfield and disrupt anything, McDougal and company, all of them are able to play on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. They are going to be very effective in disrupting this struggling run game.
After the loss of 3, 2nd and 13.
Oh.
Wide open, incomplete. Bryant had 3 steps on Marcus Strong. Eason just missed him. He'd love to have that one back.
He sure did. Just got a little bit too anxious with it. When you see a guy that's wide open that way, you got out routes running here, Timmy. Nice job of sitting it down on the perimeter. But then you got him wide open. You got to take a little bit off, set your feet, and then deliver that ball with a little less on it. That excitement sometimes can get to a quarterback when you see it. That's kind of been the narrative in the story at that position. Executing.
Washington is the worst in the Pac-12 on 3rd down conversions, 35%. Ahmed, the setback. 3rd and long. Pressure! And that pass is incomplete. Late flag. He might get bailed out by a pass interference. Cade Otten with the intended receiver. Bryce Beekman, 26, likely to be tagged here with the interference.
Skylar Thomas was the guy that was coming from that strong safety position, number 25. So it was 25 and 26 coming from depth right here, Timmy. That's where the immediate heat came from.
Spencer, I don't think that ball was catchable.
Pass interference, defense number 26. Spot foul, automatic first down.
Did you see how high that ball was?
Yeah, it was high.
It's a bailout, and it's a good call, but the ball was... I mean, he would have had to climb a ladder to pick it. That's what Leach is claiming. Way over his head.
And Thomas, Skylar Thomas, those two together put tremendous pressure. That's what you call affecting the quarterback.
1st and 10 from the 40. Upland. And another flag comes down as he hits the turf at the 28, a gain of 12.
Anytime they get wide open spaces like that, it's going to be some type of holding penalty because we're not used to seeing.
Offense number 83. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, first down.
It's Devin Culp that's going to be tagged, one of the many tight ends that Washington will use. Besides Bryant and Otten, you'll see Culp. You'll also see Westover as an H-back from time to time, and Jacob Kaiser, I beg your pardon. All 4 will get playing time. There's Darcel McBath, who is the co-defensive coordinator, and he's talking with the guy making the calls, Rock Bellantoni, that took over for Tracy Claeys. What Mike Leach said is, I needed more energy and enthusiasm. McBath played for Mike at Texas Tech. That pass is caught by Bryant on the quick cross inside the 40 to the 37. Jahad Woods, the tackle.
There's Rock there in the middle with the white visor on, and you know, a la Steve Spurrier. He's got that nice little visor on. But I'll tell you what, I love him. He came up to us prior to the game and just kind of unpacked some thoughts that he had. Love his energy, his passion for the game. They're working in tandem up top and down the sideline. And Arcel's a guy that's been familiar with Coach Lisa's system, played for him back to in the early 2000s.
Yeah, the, as you like to call it, inflection point came after the UCLA game.
No question.
And Tracy Claeys decided to resign. The official call was that. Ahmed to the 35, where a gain of 2. Skylar Thomas making the stop.
Thomas, so active, number 25 at that strong safety position. Successive plays he's been around. He's got a nose for the football. He's aggressive.
Bellantoni was very obvious and very transparent with us, Spencer, about having to take over as a defensive coordinator for one that has to do what this one always does when playing complementary football with the air raid offense, and we can discuss that as the game moves along.
That's a great point, partner.
3rd and 5. Eason, a fade for Bynum. Nice. Incomplete. Good defense by Derek Langford, number 2.
Derek Langford typically plays behind Marcus Strong at the corner, but they'll rotate those guys in there. And Bynum has the ball there, sees it, but he probably wanted to go high point that ball up. Instead, he let it climb on him. Anytime you're making those basket catches like that, I'm always confused why a guy jumps to make a basket catch. If you're going to jump, you're trying to extend the reach. The high point the ball, pull it in, and then give yourself an advantage over the defender.
Washington goes on 4th down a lot. 70% conversion rate. 19 of 27 on the year. You're playing against Washington State. You probably have to go on fourth often. Crossing pattern caught. Otten, first down. Skylar Thomas with a tackle, a gain of 7. Move the chains.
Well, that's the way you beat blitz. You know, when you got a quarterback that can throw the ball that's accurate, you can beat the blitz. The eyes are right there, but you see them flash just enough to make that linebacker go outside, but then he hits him quickly over the top, and then Skylar Thomas is there at the strong safety. 3 consecutive plays, but not enough. The chains are moving.
Dallas Hobbs is checked back into the game at the nose for Washington State on 1st and 10.
Let's see if Hobbs can give him some pressure without blitzing this time. They're stemming or moving prior to the ball to try to create some blocking confusion.
Flags down. Eason throws, and he finds his man, Hunter Bryant. And the tight end used yet again, a gain of 12. And Jihad Woods, the stop, will check the flag.
There's no foul for an illegal shift. All the players were set.
That's right.
Well, Eason looking to warm up now to hang with Gordon, the #1 passer in the country.
See, here's what they're talking about. When they move from that side back to the other side, that's called a starboard charge. In other words, if they're going to the right or the starboard side, they will move that direction, but they didn't cross the line of scrimmage. If they all move in concert like that, that's not an infraction. Sometimes it can be construed as much, but they've done it twice today. They're doing it again right now.
Play fake to Newton in the corner.
Nice
Touchdown!
Well, they like the adjustment here on the outside, Timmy. Again, it's Langford that's defending. Bynum does a nice job at the last moment adjusting, drifting on that fade ball, and boy, he goes up and sees it over his shoulder. Let me tell you something. That's not an easy catch, but they practiced that, and he subtly adjusted at the end of it for the score. Outstanding.
Henry with the extra point. Eason looked like his old self on that drive, didn't he? Eason's 22nd. A big-time throw. Fox College Football is sponsored by Volkswagen. Drive something bigger than yourself. And by Sprint. Switch today. 2012, last time Washington State won. Bynum, his first touchdown reception. And look at the first 7 games versus the last 5. They've been turning to him a bit more, and that's, you know, explosive plays. That's what Bush Hamdan was talking to us about, and Hunter Bryant helped deliver some of that in that last drive, but Bynum with that over-the-shoulder catch. That's something I felt, Spencer, in watching Washington coming in as we were prepping. He just wasn't getting very much help from his receiving corps.
Yeah, but Bush Hamdan, the coordinator, was very transparent with us and said, hey, look, in my self-evaluation, maybe I'm saying just because we don't have an out-pitch receiver, we're not going to him enough. Let's give him some chances, and it obviously paid off on that last drive.
Harris from his 3. Not quite to the 20 before being knocked to the turf. And let's go down to Coley Harvey.
Yeah, you know, Tim, a couple of series ago, Brandon Arconato, one of the receivers here at Washington State, came off the field with what looked like a hand injury. He's actually been in the tent the whole time since then, and I've noticed trainers going in and out, in and out. Last week, we found out that he was in the tent for the entire second quarter. Last week, he has a shoulder injury that he's being checked out. At least that's what he had last week. We'll see if there's any connection, but like I said, he's still in the tent.
Well, the youngster from Chino Hills, California, is one of the sure-handed receivers for Gordon. He's sacked here. Ball is on the ground late. I don't think they had whistled him down, so Ryan Bowman got to him. Fortunately, Jared Kingston, 52, fell on top of it a little bit late.
Yeah, Bowman, 55, the outside linebackers that got it, eventually gets in there. You'll see him coming in your picture right there. Again, that's where the payoff happens. But again, the big push up front, Tim, you can't underscore it enough. When you got those big guys on that front of that line, on Uzuruke and rest of them pushing them back, you're going to have a chance to compete.
Yeah, On Uzuruke is a young man that sometimes is not involved in the game. Here they come. Down he goes. Tryon gets to him at the 1. That's how Jimmy Lake cracks the code, with a little bit of a push up front.
Well, you see, we've seen the heavy dose, right? We've seen the heavy dose of zone for the most part. Again, but eventually they'll come, number 9, and then works over, the arm over to get to the quarterback to get home. If you can do that without blitzing, you're going to have a tremendous opportunity to affect the outcome of a game. And then you counter that on the offensive side of the ball, which is what Easton did, going 5 of 7 for 63 yards and a touchdown. That's the anatomy of how you win against Washington State.
Crowd is into it now. 3rd and an eternity. Gordon has to unload it, incomplete. In the vicinity of Bell. Bell, the intended receiver.
Legal pass. There's a receiver in the area.
Washington State had allowed the least sacks in the Pac-12 coming into today's game, only 11. And Washington's got 3 today.
The one thing that they're doing different, Tim, they're dialing up pressure, sensing an opportunity to affect the quarterback. And Gordon, he's felt it on this particular series.
Dragicevic will punt it away. It's very seldom that he has to punt more than once in a game. This will be his 2nd today. Beautiful punt.
Nice punt.
He's got Aaron Fuller backing up to get it at the 40. Did he outkick his coverage? Up to the 47-yard line. Nice work by Washington State after the 54-yard boot. Jimmy Lake's defense decided to navigate those waters nearby Husky Stadium, didn't they? All right, thank you, Mike. And Petros Papadakis is in there. Who do you call when the guys leave for the
money?
Yeah, you call Petros, baby.
Petros.
There's a pitch going to Newton. And you also call Petros for dinner reservations in Los Angeles if you're ever in.
That pop will cost you a baklava and a spanakopita.
Jihad Woods with the stop. That's a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. This is a big series, Spencer, for the Washington State defense.
It's huge.
Got to maintain contact. They've been dominated in this series. Bryant with another catch. I mean, it comes down to this. You got to have someone on Bryant. You cannot let Aaron Fuller beat you. Those are the 2 guys. Now Bynum with his first touchdown catch.
See, right now it's really about zone coverage. Again, Bynum scored the touchdown on man out there, but again, he had to get a handle on that ball. Almost got away from him, but he retrieves it and then puts it right in that window versus man coverage. It's an excellent job of averting a mistake and then converting.
Well, the backup guard by Nivalu has done a nice job. 66 in for the injured Kirkland. That's Newton burrowing ahead for about a yard, maybe 2.
You know, so Washington is trying to score now, but I think Washington State's bigger issue, Timmy, on that last offensive drive, 3 plays for negative 17 yards. That included 2 sacks and an incomplete pass. So now all of a sudden, Washington State in this ebb and flow kind of a game in this Apple Cup series has now got the advantage. Looking for Washington State to respond in kind.
Bynum and Bryant have been the go-to guys. 7 receptions, 129 yards between the 2.
There you go.
There's a little flush out to the other tight end, Cade Otten. Taken out at the 4-yard line. Will Rogers, the defensive end, hauls him down, and now they got to find a way, this Washington State team, to hold him to 3.
Well, you knew there was trouble coming when all of a sudden you find, you know, a couple of bodies in the 3-man rush to get past that line of scrimmage. Take a listen to this.
Problem for the Cougars is that those hits that made those sounds came too far and down the field. They've had a lot of missed tackles this year, this Washington State defense.
Old school toss sweep.
Yeah, into the boundary. Newton is stopped behind the line by Jihad Woods.
It's tough. There's a phone booth down here. You know, it's really smart to try to do something different. But again, when there's not a whole lot of space now into that nearing that green zone inside the 5-yard line. You look at the flow of the action inside, the eyes, a toss sweep downhill. Newton wants to find something, but playing with great leverage on the backside. Woods and company doing a fantastic job of eliminating the leverage points. And you take a look at Mike Leach, Chris Peterson.
Pirate wants his defense to dial up some pressure here and hold the Huskies to 3.
Washington State, their first of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
I think that underscores how important this series is. The fact that they really want to get the job done here, Spencer, and find a way to hold them to 3 points. And without question, they're accustomed to getting into shootouts, and early on it looked like we might be in that position. Here we go again, though. They're being held in check by this Washington defense as they get the pressure that they were hoping for.
Well, you and I know you're never out of the woods when you're dealing with a Mike Leach offense, right?
Yeah.
But I think you clearly can feel the ebb and flow of this has shifted back to Washington. Now they are moving the ball on offense, stuffing them on the previous offensive series. So now they've got a groove working. It's up to Washington State to respond.
Good to be on land.
Oh, man, I love it, though. I love the water, though. I used to keep a boat out in the park side. Yeah.
Next time we ought to try to call it with binocs from Lake Washington. What do you think? Many thanks to our crew, Mitch Riggin, and our producer, a.k.a. the Norman Lear of college football, Jake Jolivet, for helping put that together for us today. Newton! He's down to the 2. Washington following those big uglies up front. Harris.
Great job of heavy running down here by Newton. And this is doing a couple of things, Tim. Not only are you establishing a physical presence, but anytime you can keep the ball away from this vaunted offensive attack, it's going to be good. You're sitting here on the doorstep with the chance to score again and define who you are. Through the air, you've been dominant. Now you can come back on the ground. And when you achieve that balance, you know what Chris Peterson told us, we need to be a balanced team. We're not going to sit here and lament the fact that we don't have a 4-year starter like a Myles Gaskin. We have got to find a way to be productive.
Westbrook is coming to the game as an H-back. Newton dots the I. It's Newton behind him. Touchdown!
Tim, love the right guard. This is Roberts here. He's going to come and pull from his right guard position, and he's the lead blocker. All the back has got to do is find him, get on his hip pocket, and he's going to be able to kick out anybody that's there. Unfortunately, that was Skylar Thomas, the strong safety, who has figured in a lot of key stops so far, but you're going to lose that weight to ratio battle right there. Outstanding.
Sirens sounding as the Huskies, looking for their 7th in a row in the Apple Cup Series, lead it 21-10. Fox College Football is sponsored by Volkswagen. Drive something bigger than yourself. Way back in '81, Washington with a win, 23-10. We're almost into Warren Moon territory there.
Oh, yeah, number 1.
Last 3 drives, look at that for Washington. Doesn't make the guy in the middle that pleased. Gee, and I've got to go all the way back to Pullman, huh? That's the look on his face. But still plenty of time. That this is a critical series here for Washington State offensively. We talked about their defense in the last sequence minutes. They didn't get it done. And now that shifts all the pressure back to Mike Leach's offense with the remaining minute and change that we've got, and they'll start after the touchback. Well, we mentioned Warren Moon. Back in '75, the Apple Cup, the legendary coach Don James' first foray into this rivalry. The Cougs led late. Al Burleson took an interception, 93 yards for a touchdown to bring the Huskies to within striking range, and then with under 2 minutes, Warren bombed a ball that was tipped by 2 defenders before ending in the hands of Spider Gaines, who took it the rest of the way for the game-winning score.
Oh, 1 dog.
Oh, man. All those games that were called back in the day by Keith Jackson.
Just a 3-man rush.
Keith Jackson, of course, a Washington State alum. Desmond Patman on the receiving end after that curl of 11 yards.
So all of a sudden, this Washington defense is back to its old ways of sitting back in the zone. They know that they can create pressure. We know the benefits that's reaped for the offense. And so Lake kind of resting his guys up.
Well, he does have a quick release, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He comes out late. Travell Harris gets it to the 42-yard line.
What a great pluck out of the air. Harris with a nice job of pulling that ball down with that right hand and just showing you some of the concentration and the focus.
Timeout. Washington State, their second of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout. Game timer, please reset the clock to 1:07. 1:07. Thank you.
That's pretty sweet there, Timmy.
Yeah. The new era of WWE is underway. Friday nights on Fox. Each and every week, catch all the superstars, all the action. Friday Night SmackDown coming up tonight from Birmingham, only on Fox. Spencer, I know you're a big fan of the psychological work of the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. He'll reveal a new face in the Firefly Funhouse tonight.
I'm looking forward to that. You know, I've got a bunch of former wrestlers in the Houston area.
I know you do.
Know them by first name. They not going to name you, but
I know one too.
Talent,
I know one too. Rob Stone. He's really he's got all the belts up in Ann Arbor this weekend. Now, before this drive, Washington State only 13 yards gained in the second. And there's another sack. They're getting to Gordon now. Well, Lavocio, along with Bowman, collaborating this time.
Well, 55, the outside linebacker Bowman, but the coverage is clean as well. They're playing zone behind it, but when the pressure is like this, the mesh route, it doesn't matter. That's really a staple of this offensive scheme. The mesh being those two receivers underneath, the pressure is too daunting.
Trying to redirect traffic. He threw it up in the air, and it's picked off. Molden's got it. Now that's Mike Leach's worst nightmare right there.
On the field is interception. First down, Washington.
Well, you almost had too much time there.
Well, what you just saw in that play was just inexplicable. You know, Gordon known for his decision-making ability, patient, waiting behind Gardner Minshew, 4 years of experience, and so he learned a great deal, but not quite sure what he saw in that play right there.
Spencer, this goes right back to, as you look at this, what Jimmy Lake was talking about, how they get into his head.
Well, here's the key. The staple for this air raid offense is not only is the quarterback receiving and messages from the secondary, but he has to read it as well as the running back. In that regard, it's not unlike the old run and shoot what we used to have. If the quarterback is not seeing the same thing that the receivers are seeing and they misread and communicate, you get inexplicable interceptions like that.
15th pick, and that's the most, but as many times as they throw it, it's a relative stat in many respects. They're not getting rid of the ball quickly, that we know. Eason's pass is incomplete. He was looking for Bynum. And it'll be second down. Now suddenly Washington State's in a must-stop mode with 25 seconds left in the half.
And they showed it too, because Willie Taylor, number 27, the rush linebacker, he got some pressure that time, and now they're trying to do their impersonation of this Husky defense of their own on this side.
Remember, Washington gets the ball to open the second half. Washington State won the toss, elected to receive, had an 11-play drive that was dynamite, and they've been stymied since. That pass incomplete, thrown at the feet of Savon Ahmed. So it'll be 3rd and 10.
Jihad Woods and company, man, they are so active on that back end. They'll rotate a number of guys. You know, we've been calling Skylar Thomas the strong safety, number 25, and then Bryce Beekman, 26. The free safety's name a lot. But then when you see this guy step up, Jihad Woods and company, they mean business. It's going to take a bunch of them to come after this group, and all of a sudden it has found some life offensively.
On 3rd and 10, they hand it off to Ahmed. And he'll be stopped shy of midfield. A couple of yards shy of the first down, a gain of 8.
Tim, you remember what Bush Hampton, the offensive coordinator, told us. He said, hey, you know, sometimes when you got a guy like a Savon Ahmed, you want to be patient because it takes a while for him to get lathered up. And he may hit a home run for you, but you got to wait him out.
I think we had a late timeout taken here.
Game timer, please reset the game clock to 2 seconds. Timeout. Washington State with 2 seconds on the game clock. This is their 3rd and final timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
This is sometimes might just for effect.
Just to do it, man.
Yeah.
Just to see if your head's in the game.
Yeah. Anyway, we went down before the game got underway, and you talked about visiting with Rock Bellantoni, the new defensive coordinator for Mike. Mike also came up, told us that the Thanksgiving feast was was really good. And yes, as usual, he made the gravy. And you got to have the tiger sauce.
No question.
In the gravy.
He did make the sauce, right?
And by the way, you got a clear reference to my home state, Louisiana. You got to have some tiger sauce. He's got a home, as you know, in South Florida.
He doesn't let anybody else make the gravy.
No, he doesn't.
He insists he has to make the gravy. He's going to eat it.
He does admit that his wife has become a much better cook and does everything else, but he has to make the gravy. Now we can head to Los Angeles. Fans get a few extra boos in for Mike. Right now, let's get you back to Mike Hill in Los Angeles, who I'm sure is having a wonderful meal today. Fox College Football is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Unbelievable setting. Boy, you talk about
gorgeous.
Giving thanks. We give thanks for this assignment. 21-10 our score. Washington with the lead. And I'm also thankful of having this guy together for 21 of the last 22 years. The two of us. What a first half. I mean, we thought Washington State came out guns a-blazing, and then Washington does what they always do, it seems.
Well, Mike Leach's offense, the air raid, does what it does, and it causes you to think. It causes confusion. Our guys did a nice job of setting this up for you. This is called a mesh concept. All it means is these guys will mesh at one point. It causes problems on the back end. Keith Taylor does not sort it out, and they take advantage of that green space we talk about. This is attacking the grass, and this is the net result of it. But after that, they kind of stalled a little bit offensively. Then Jimmy Lake on the backside of this stepped it up big time. Always means to cause you problems, always means to cause you some kind of pain, and he does it. It's Purple Rain. Purple Rain. They came early and they came often, forcing a punt, a field goal, a punt, and an interception on the last 3 possessions. They are on fire. We'll see in the second half if Washington State has a response.
Well, one thing's for certain, Chris Peterson's gotten a lot more from Jacob Eason's receivers in this game, Spencer. Bynum has suddenly become a factor, as he had been really for the last couple of games, to go along with the tight end, Hunter Bryant, the favorite target in this offense. And we haven't heard from Bocelli yet, but Aaron Fuller's been targeted some as well. Those guys are helping Jacob Eason out, and he's beginning to look like the star player that they all thought he was when he was coming out of Stevens, Washington. And a touchback to open the second half. Washington will have it. Let's go down to Coley.
Tim, you're actually making my point for me right now. I was talking to Chris Peterson at halftime, and he mentioned the explosive plays. That was something that Bush Hadman talked to us about earlier in the week, that they needed to have that. And when it came to Eason, he said he's got to give his guys a chance, and when he gives them a chance, they're able to make those big plays. So that's what caused that. As for Washington State, the biggest issue for Mike Leach was the fact that he felt like his team's just not getting consistency. And when I asked him why he thought that was the case, it's because they're trying too hard to make plays happen and not just make the routine plays.
Yeah, let the game come to you. And you could tell that Gordon was adversely affected by the pressure up the middle from the Washington defensive front. There's a safety blitz, and the answer is a pass that's complete to Cade Otton.
Willie Taylor's just bringing big-time pressure, man, forcing the issue. That's what they need. They need to be frequent, but they got to get home, too, right? 27, you see come down here. A little delay blitz. He comes back like he's going to back out of there, but he comes strong. But they do get the ball off. But that constant pressure is what you got to get. 27 kind of fools the left tackle there, but he gets in a little bit too late. The pressure's coming.
That's Willie Taylor III, as you mentioned. Otton, now the tight end, gives motion and is in the slot. And they'll go with Newton. He spun down after a yard gain. Skylar Thomas, 25, coming up to make the tackle. Well, Rock Bellantoni told us, he says, look, we got to do a better job of wrapping up. We've got to get as many bodies as we can into the tackle box. And without question, putting him, that being Eason, in second and long is exactly what Washington State needs more of. This is a Huskies offense that's found its rhythm in the second quarter.
Come down with this tight little teacup formation and motion out of it. Got a little penetration on that left side of that front for Washington State. Encroachment looked like.
Yep, Carson Block, number 50, Got a little bit of a head start, it appeared. That will make the task perhaps a little easier for Washington.
I'm surprised it's going to take them a while to sort that out. That was pretty clear, as you pointed out, partner.
Yeah, there was no false start that I saw.
Defense in the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
There it is, Carson Block, right number 50. There you see Rock Ballantoni
in the middle there.
Yeah, this is a guy that spent a lot of time coaching at places like UMass. At Drake, he was with Dave Doran at one time. Now, of course, at NC State and Eastern Illinois. Moved over to Villanova to coach. More pressure off the edge. Eason steps up, and it's incomplete. And the marker comes down in the secondary. Ball was tipped away by Armani Marsh, 35.
He had Heat coming in the form of George Hicks, number 18, the cornerback. He got the ball off. Good footwork in the pocket.
Holding.
To step up.
Defense, number 4. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
You got Marcus Strong on that, huh?
Sure did.
Marcus coming back there playing a man under concept. So you've got man on the left side of the field locked up is Strong, and then as he pivots out of the route, he's there locked up. You can see him on the inside route, gives number 4 a mirror move, the arm over, and he tries to recover. And I don't know. That's questionable right there, man. That's a bad call, in my opinion.
Yeah. I didn't like it either. From the 45, first down. Play fake, Eason with time. Wide open is Hunter Bryant. $39 yards. Huskies going in for an early kill shot to start the second half.
Chris Peterson with Bryant does it his interpretation of finding the grass here with the tight end. You can see the little trifecta they have here. A little late delay over the middle, a little drag corner route. Tight end opens up. An understanding of the defense is really what was key to that play.
Newton again the setback. West over the H-back in front of him. That looked like it was going to open up, but it closed in a hurry. Bryce Beekman, 26, was quick to identify it.
It was so big. Bateman just kind of waited, man. I'll tell you, you can't be stutter stepping when you have a gaping hole that big. You got to hit it up in there and trust that it's going to get you into the end zone. I mean, it's so wide. He just kind of stood there. And Newton I thought he was just going to run straight ahead and score.
Well, this is their 4th trip into the red zone. They've converted on the 3 prior trips, all with touchdowns. Second and goal now from the 4 with Savon Ahmed in the game. Marquis Spiker, number 8, is checked into the game down at the bottom of your screen. Going for the fade in the corner. Incomplete. Do we have a flag?
Yep,
we do. Yep. Ty Jones, the intended receiver. Marcus Strong was right there with him.
Holding. Defense, number 4.
Wow.
Penalties half the distance to goal from the previous spot.
That's 2
Automatic
on him.
first down.
Definitely hands there by Strong on this play as opposed to the 2 prior plays.
Yeah, he had a jersey too.
Yeah, had a little bit of that jersey underneath the armpit area. It's kind of easy to see that white glove against that purple jersey. Jones didn't have a clear opportunity to it.
The penalty was for pass interference. Defense number 4. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
Now Leach is going to argue that it was uncatchable. The ball was over his head. And
well, you go back to that one uncatchable in that drive where they were pushed to a 4th down, Spencer. That turned out to be a big call at that point in time in the game. Newton. Touchdown. His second today.
Well, Chris Peterson excited that his back didn't need to figure out the theory of relativity on this one. This was just about getting your head down. Low man's going to win. He should have done that 2 plays ago. They would have scored. Outstanding job of punching it in, as you said, 4th straight touchdown drive.
The Huskies' dominance in the Apple Cup may be well underway yet again. The 2019 version on the ground and in the air. Fox College Football is sponsored by T-Mobile. Get ready for 5G in more places. By Progressive, handing off big savings to you. And by Dave & Buster's. Eat, drink, play together all through the holiday season. 97 was the year of 41-35 Washington State victory. Going back to Brock Heward days now. Our friend and colleague, he and Joe Davis were there. They trailed to 10-7 with 11:38 left in the second. 21 unanswered points now for Washington since.
It started in the second quarter. Actually, Washington had 119 total yards in that second quarter to Washington State's 21. And it's continued on to this third quarter now. Still looking for a response from Washington State.
It'll be a touchback. Well, we've had a lot of crazy games involving Washington State this year. That's an understatement. In September, UCLA rallied for their biggest comeback in program history. A few weeks later, the Cougs couldn't hold off the Sun Devils' late surge. A month ago, Oregon squeaked by Washington State with a last-second field goal. But last week, the Cougars came out on the winning end of a wild one to stun Oregon State and become bowl eligible.
Some really good coaching going on in the conference. You know, watching the way ASU had to come back against Michigan State and the way they won that game and then be able to go toe-to-toe and score a lot of points. It really puts a lot of stress on defenses in this league.
Borghi's in the backfield, but the pass is complete to Aesop Winston. And he's ahead to the 27, maybe the 28. Elijah Molden with the stop. Well, we touched on how important these drives are. It's certainly now. You look at the record over the last 5 games, and the point production is way down. They got to find a way, Washington State, to get something going right now. Otherwise, they're in store for yet another Washington blowout right in front of them. And Borghi gets hammered behind the line of scrimmage by Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, Tim, that previous play before the ball was snapped, Washington State was in a trips formation, a tight trips or a teacup bunch, whatever you want to call it. And Washington didn't even honor it. They didn't even move. They're in their wheelhouse. Those are faux or fake coverages. They understand what Washington State is trying to do. So they'll wait till they dance around, but they're going to finally build and get a formation that they are able to defend.
Third down, 11. Pressure coming. Underneath they go bubble screen, and it's Harris. He's got a first down. How about that? Perfect elixir for that blitz. 13 yards and a first down.
That was a blitz coming from distance, and again with just 3 rushers primarily up front. That fourth one didn't get there fast enough. The lights blocking out in front of him. Cornell Bell and company did a fine job of getting out in front of the ball carrier to push the change.
Yeah, Bell made that play.
Yeah, he did.
Out of the shotgun, Borghi. Well, they have identified him after that first drive, only a yard. Potowa'i, number 8, making the stop. Senior from DuPont, Washington, Lakes High School.
Potowa'i, again, you can see him in the middle. Doing a fine job of just shedding and releasing, getting up in the middle with that hair flying. Well, he comes after you, man. I tell you, you got to be intentional with him because he can sling you any way he wants to, take you where he wants to go. You don't even have to want to go. He's just that kind of athlete. You're coming with him. One of
18 seniors honored before the game today. Gordon flushed from the pocket. He'll go ahead and take himself to the 41. He was going to go out of bounds. There's a flag down. And he finally got stuck at about the 41-yard line. A little woofing going on with he and Keith Taylor and a few other Cougars and Huskies.
That may be against the Huskies, Tim. You would think it would be holding, but I think I saw a couple of things going on that they suggest otherwise.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense, number 58. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down. Game timer, please reset the clock to 9:35. 9:35. Thank you.
That's only the second penalty against Washington. Here it is. Going on right there with Liam Ryan, 63. Wide open is Bell. Ring it up. He's down to the 20. First down.
Big gain, and Cameron Williams, number 16, the corner that comes in there, has got to be careful at the end of this one that he's not leading with his helmet. Great ball catch. Again, he tries to go in with his side, and he gets the shoulder in there to be sure. Gordon standing tall in the pocket, delivers a strike, high points it. That's what you need to do. Go up and pluck that ball out of the air.
5 catches for 58 yards for Bell.
Just a 3-man rush, plenty of time.
On the curl underneath to Bell again. He's about maybe 2 yards shy, or a yard and a half. He picks up 9, we'll call it. Second and a long 1 coming up.
Battle of minds going on right here, man, with Leach, Lake.
Now this is almost personal between these two. Mike won't say it. He's just going to keep doing what he always does. But Jimmy Lake's had a lot of bravado. He backed off of that when he spoke to us, was very respectful of Mike and his career. But listen, this is a rivalry. And I mean, it's personal in rivalry games like the Apple Cup. That's McIntosh. He's got the first down at the 9. Pickup of 2 on Zawirke with the tackle, number 95.
Now with this comfortable lead, what Lake can afford to do is just sit back and play zone. Even though they get on the doorstep here, there's no rush for them to do anything extra. He's just basically playing the game that he wants to play. And it's going to force the issue. He's got great movement and protection up front. On Zawirke, you mentioned him. And everybody else has been stepping up as well, providing an occasional 4-man rush and pressure without blitzing.
From the 9, first and goal. Gordon running out of time.
Got it.
Tryon got him again. Way back at the 20.
Number 9, Joe Tryon, the outside linebacker. Boy, I'll tell you, he's gifted, and he's going to show you underneath. He comes underneath a stunt on the edge and gets to the quarterback unabated for another fantastic defensive play by this Jimmy Lake coach team. And you don't think he's not excited?
In a lot of ways, Spencer, I'd almost rather have Washington State at my 9 than I would my 20, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But the ball has got to come out quickly from Gordon. If it's more than 3 counts, Washington's all over him. There's a pump fake.
Wow.
That pass is a little late coming out. Incomplete for Aesop Winston.
He had Dontavian Martin, his ex-receiver, number 1, wide open.
He sure did. Absolutely missed him.
I was just wondering if he was going to go back. You know, his body posture was oriented to the center of the field. Meantime, he's sitting out there. Is Dontavian Martin, the ex-receiver, wide open?
Yeah, Tay was there. He just didn't see him. 3rd and goal from the 21.
Trips to the left, Tim. Let's see if they settle with just a 2-man rush now with a down hand 3.
Into traffic, back of the end zone, incomplete. Harris, the intended receiver.
And the key to that play was once again pressure with only 3, dropping 7 that time. Joe Tryon, the outside linebacker, one more time, number 9 in the mix. You can see the coverage is what's key here.
Number 50 for Washington State is in as number 16.
This will be a 38-yard try coming up for Mazza. Now, we mentioned he's 19 of 20, but 2 of those are from beyond 50. This guy has been outstanding. As I mentioned, first ever Rosa finalist in the history of Washington State football. From the right hash. Got it.
Yep.
That makes it a 2-score game, and that was a must, really, for Mike Leach's club. Fox College Football is sponsored by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Look at that, the quarterback comparison. Jacob Eason certainly holding his own, and with certainly the efficiency rating that you want. 214 yards on only 16 throws, and that quarterback rating will move up steadily with that kind of performance against the record-breaking 5,000-plus yard quarterback that is Anthony Gordon. But that 3 points, Spencer, was vital.
Yeah, it was important. The overall gross numbers in terms of passing yardage is comparable, actually negligible. But I think ultimately it's the momentum that we're talking about, Timmy, here, the difference. That scoring drive, 12 plays, 55 yards, took up 5 minutes and 14 seconds, but only a field goal. You need to get touchdowns.
One thing about it, they do score quickly in this part of the world. Tonight's game not going to go to the Dogs. Or maybe it will.
That's roughing them up.
A reminder, download the Fox Sports Super 6 app and play our weekend games for free for a chance at $250,000 of my friend Terry Bradshaw's money. How about a little Apple Cup trivia? Spencer, you ready to play? I always wanted to be a game show host. You know that. The Apple Cup has been played in 3 different cities. Seattle, Pullman are 2. What is the third? I'll give you some time.
I was going to say Spokane.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say. I think they played there, Rogers Field, back in the 40s.
That's McClatcher, his first reception of the day, but a negligible gain. Only a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Yeah, that would be my guess. Spokane.
Spokane. And Spokane was it. Good.
Yeah, was it?
Home of the Dogs. The Gonzaga.
Back in the 40s they played there.
Home of the Zags.
There you go.
Got an incredible win in basketball over Oregon overnight. Ahmed remains in the backfield, a lone setback.
Tight bunch formation.
And he bounces outside. See, there's a missed tackle, Spencer, at the point of attack that really cost you. I mean, that's an absolute whiff by Travion Brown. Or was that 52? I think it might have been 52, not 82.
Well, you can see, it was 92. You're
92,
right.
yeah. Will Rogers.
Will Rogers is there, but he couldn't rope him on that one. It just came right out of his hand, stepped out of it. You got to, if you're running a 3-man front, that nose tackle's got to be able to play what they call a 2 technique, a 0 technique, where he's responsible for the gap to his left as well as the gap to his right. He's in more of a 3 now, outside eye. Then he's going to reduce down into that position. Hopefully he'll have better success.
There's the pitch to Savan Ahmed. Skylar Thomas making the stop. Yes, it's not spelled with a K, but the K is there. Ahmed,
right,
not Ahmed. (15 and 8). Washington's previous long rushes were 5, so now they're getting some yardage on the ground in chunks, as opposed to having to go to the air.
Chris Peterson is content now to play the game that way because he can. That field goal chopped into this lead, as you said, made it 2 possession, but I think the bottom line is to not necessarily expose yourself to additional risk. Just stay in control.
Eason. This is a money down, isn't it? Beautiful catch. Aaron Fuller with the reception.
Love
13 yards.
Love this throw. Fuller's on the receiving end, and the route is excellent, but the ball is low and away, and it's down. With a nice cushion, you eventually know it's going to be some type of zone, but it's man on the back end, and that coverage is so soft. He says, okay, I'm not going to try to go past you. I'll stop at about 10, 12 deep and then just turn and present my numbers. And that ball between 3 defenders is placed low and to the outside where only he can catch it. Excellent placement with that ball. Play action.
And bootleg action. And it's dropped by Hunter Bryant. That's a rarity for that young man. He generally is.
Well, this is about completing the play, and Chris Peterson talks so much about execution. That ball's got a little air underneath it, but again, if you're Bryant, his eyes, you can see they leave the ball just before it reaches his hands.
Spencer, looking at the tape coming into this game, and particularly their most recent games, there were just, I thought, momentary concentration lapses in the passing game.
That's the difference. That's the difference between when you succeed and when you don't in anything. Football's just our platform right now.
Slant caught by Fuller. Another first down. Is the ball loose? I think Washington State says they have it. And they do. Wow. Well, I've been waiting all day for this, right? It's
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down.
It's Misi Aliopotea Bay who comes away with it.
I'm not sure that knee is down, but Tyrese Ross, number 1, the redshirt freshman,
right,
is underneath them, Timmy. And I don't think the Washington Huskies player's body touched the ground.
No.
And so Fuller's, up. He's not touching the ground, so he's live, and that ball and anything that happens to it, unless there's a whistle, but the knee may be down. But I'll tell you what, it looks like there's about a baseball slice in between there,
yeah,
some air in
I
between
thought
the
so.
turf and the knee.
Aliopotea Bay is the young man that came away with it. Misi, they like to call him, and I'll call him that the rest of the day.
You've earned it.
We'll be right back. The call was upheld. It was Jihad Woods that got it out of there, and you see that space. Excellent work by our guys in the truck. There was space between the knee being down, and the ball came out, and Misi with the recovery. Gordon on the check down, goes underneath.
Timmy, going back to that fumble, it was ruled a fumble. Tyrese Ross was the key to that. If he doesn't come out of that pile with an attitude, I think Fuller's going to be ruled down by his own body weight. But because he came up with intentionality, that knee never got a chance to touch the turf.
That's right. Travell Harris with that reception. It's 2nd down and 4. Borghi and McIntosh now in the backfield. That's Patman in motion. Gordon is flushed again.
Just a 3-man rush, so he's going to be able to run.
He saw Borghi out there and said, I got a convoy, I might as well tuck it and go. And he picks up the first down.
A lot of times when there's man coverage and you're just rushing 3, if the routes are such that they're down the field, everybody's back is to the quarterback. And this quarterback isn't known for his mobility necessarily, but he can move for 5, 6, 7 yards at a time before the defense responds to him, simply because of the coverage. If they're playing more of a zone look where they're facing him, they can respond or react to him much quicker, and he's less likely to run in that case.
Patman is the receiver at the bottom of your screen. It's Borghi now off the left side. And that's more like it from a first down standpoint. If you're Mike Leach, you want to see 5, 6 yards on first down so you get ahead of the chains. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Lavoshio with the stop.
And Mike is kind of content to play more of Washington State style of ball. They're not pushing the ball down the field. And you say, well, why is that the case? It's because of this rush. Jimmy Lake's rush in this second half, and actually beginning in the second half, has been all over this Washington State quarterback.
Started in the second quarter and really hasn't stopped. You're right. Quick slant, caught. Bell bounces off one and is just a yard shy of a first down.
Bell's got to be aware of the fact that once he gets that ball seated and completed, you got to get upfield, turn it. They're giving you zone coverage, so that means nobody's necessarily in your hip pocket. So turn the ball upfield. There's a couple of yards to be had.
Tay Martin, the wide receiver, to the top of your screen. Jimmy Lake on the right side shouting out his defensive signals.
Got a pressure look off the edge, and let's see if they drop coverage.
Borghi straight up the gut for the first down. To the 49, maybe the 48. I think they'll mark it at the 49-yard line.
This is smart, intelligent football right now by Anthony Gordon. Obviously, this offense being orchestrated by Mike Leach, but the quarterback obviously has enough mental capacity to digest the coverage and keep everything on and not necessarily hit the kill switch. 5 receivers, now the back comes back in, but you still have 5 active receivers with Borghi included. Back.
Yep, Borghi's free. That's right where Borghi likes to get it, but look at them converge. How about Elijah Molden? And he had some help too. All arriving in a bad humor. Trent McDuffie as well, number 22.
You hear us talk about populating the line of scrimmage or wherever the ball is. And watch how quickly the gang tackling happens here. The number of purple jerseys, when that ball is out there all turning and converging, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys within 2 feet of the ball. That's pretty darn aggressive.
Yeah, that looked like it was going to go for 4 or 5. They netted 1 yard. 2nd and 9. Delay to Borghi. See, this is what you have to love about this kid. And a late push from the O-line inside the 35. Keith Taylor will be credited with a stop. But he'll get you tough yards even though he's small in stature.
We thought pressure was going to come here late, and it actually did come, but they were able to avert it, and Borgi just ran right through the would-be tackler. That's what he brings here. When you've got those guards uncovered like that, you need a guy that can run through those arm tackles despite giving up maybe 30 pounds to those defenders.
Gordon dumps it again underneath. That's McIntosh. And he's pushed back to the 27-yard line. Taylor with the stop, and we've come to the end of the third.
The end of the third quarter.
That turnover that Misi picked up from Jihad Woods could be a tilting point in the Apple Cup of 2019. Stay tuned. We shall see. Fox College Football is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Unbelievable setting here in Seattle at Husky Stadium. As majestic as you'll find.
It's a postcard with that sun and that
like
natural light, right?
Filled to capacity. 28-13 as we open. Borgi in the backfield. It's second down. Trying to bounce outside. Hard to run laterally against this Huskies defense. Elijah Molden corrals him. It'll be third down. No gain, so 3rd and 4.
Purple rain, baby. Elijah Molden, the free safety number 3.
Yeah,
got down on his legs, too. Nice job of wrapping up.
He limped off right there.
Hurt on that play.
Yeah, it came right down on his knee.
Sure did.
So Deion McIntosh checks in for him. Third down, we'll call it 3. McIntosh, wide open for him. First down at the 16. Brandon Wellington the tackle.
You knew it was going to happen at one point in time. It just was who was going to be tenacious enough to hit those gaps. With that 3-man front and those big splits that they get up front for Washington, there are some opportunities, but they have been so aggressive with controlling that line of scrimmage with just 3. And you know that Mike Leach is not inclined to run the ball, but those opportunities are there. And if they score a touchdown, I think that's the way they're going to have to do it.
Yeah, rivalry games can be rock fights. That's what this one's turned into. 19 first downs. Washington has 15. Looking for a big play underneath on the check down. Harris. And he's to the 8. Wellington trips him up after a pickup of 8. 2nd and 2.
Just working on Joe Tyron, the outside linebacker there. Again, Anthony Gordon does a fantastic job of recognizing zone coverage, not trying to take anything or create anything that's not there. That's a safe route.
Cassidy Woods is checked into the game, 17.
This wide technique right here is a problem. Let's see if they deal with this.
There it is, flared out under pressure, and boy, Gordon would love to have that one back. McIntosh would have had some room to run. Looked like he rushed it a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. And that was a bit of a gamble, too, because that outside linebacker I just drew up for you, that pressure was coming off the offside. But you got to assign somebody to your back that's coming out, or receiver, as the case may be.
Well, Borgi said he wanted to score, and then he tapped the desk twice.
Yep.
He scored once. He's back in, limping or no, he's ready to go.
Well, McIntosh was open on that last one. Missed him. 3rd and 2. Little flare. Turned around. McIntosh. Boy, was he hammered. That takeaway. Now they're going to rule him down. Washington thought they had it. McIntosh hit the turf. McDuffie popped him. And we got to wait and see what happens as they play to the echo of the whistle in the Apple Cup. We know what happened on that play. Elijah Molden and company came in a hurry and with a bad attitude. Watch number 3 come in here. 22 there is involved in the mix as well.
Ball's out there.
McDuffie.
Ball is out, but you don't see where the ball is or that it was recovered.
It's going to be 4th down.
Not reviewable.
Oh.
He was ruled down. That means the whistle blew. Nothing you can do about it, but clearly that was a fumble. Washington should have had the football.
No question about that.
Yep. You blow the whistle and you've ruled him down, though.
The ruling on the field is that the runner was down. The play is now under replay.
Oh, now
review.
they're going to say that. See, if the whistle blows, there's nothing you can do. But now they're going to take a look at it, and it should be Washington's football.
Well, Trent McDuffie, number 22, is the guy that came flying in there.
And I'm with Chris Peterson here. Why in the world would that be? Why would that have been ruled the way it was ruled in real time? I believe he said G. Criminy.
I don't know if it was the back judge that made the call, but the side judge wasn't the guy that was aggressive in making the call. In the back of the ball carrier was to the back judge.
Normally when the whistle blows, there's nothing you can do about it. But Dean Blandino will clear it up for us. Dean?
Yeah, so two things. You're looking for catch, and then is the runner down? Good look here. You can see clearly a catch, and there is a fumble. The only time the whistle is going to prevent a replay review is when the officials on the field rule forward progress as it relates to a loose ball. So here, this is a fumble. Clear recovery by Washington. They can't get the advance, but they'll get the football at the spot of the recovery.
Well, it was Miles Bryant that came away with the recovery, as you can see there. The initial ruling made me believe that it was a whistle down, but it was not.
The ball was fumbled, recovered by Washington. It'll be Washington's ball, first down at the 10-yard line. Game timer, please reset the clock to 12:57. 12:57. Thank you.
Well, that takeaway that was so huge for Washington State mitigated nicely by Washington. A return to sender as Bryant comes away, and that was as you said, Spencer, he arrived in a bad humor to pop that one out of there, and Miles Bryant with the recovery.
Well, there's no question that Jimmy Lake's defense is playing at a higher level, and it has been progressive over the course of the game. Started out in a conservative zone just to see what they were looking at, and they didn't disappoint on Washington State. They delivered the same thing that they always do. But as the game moved on, more aggressive, and now you're starting to see the turnovers.
Huskies from their 10. Play fake. Eason looks for a big one. Goes underneath to Hunter Bryant. He's pushed back at the 16-yard line.
And Justice Rogers and company at that Mike linebacker position, trying to be Johnny on the spot, too, on their version of their defensive stop. Pretty good job.
Well, they need to stop here quickly because the game will get away from them if Washington has a sustained drive and scores here. A lot of heat on the road team right now.
And this is an issue of comfortability. I think Washington is content to play this game with this tight bunch formation. Wouldn't be surprised if they run it out of this.
2nd and 5, tripped up right away. Ahmed. Good penetration by Willie Taylor III, 27, who's been very active today in run support.
Yep, this is conservative ball. Play it out, punt, play field position. No need to put anything at risk here.
Yeah, well, if this is a rock fight, Washington is the better team in a rock fight.
This, like I said, this is their comfort level is in play right now.
2 out of 5 on 3rd down conversions. The Huskies. This is 3rd and 6.
Got a nice inside route, but that inside receiver to the flat. Got him right now if they choose to.
Bynum motions to the top. Underneath and complete. Boy, that route was jumped. Bryant, the intended receiver, but it was jumped by Armani Marsh, 35. That's a good piece of defense. Well scouted there.
Well, the pressure is there, but I'm with you, partner. I think the bottom line is the way he played that route. He jumped inside of it, and that ability to diagnose as a result of film study what's going on, an arrow route backside, that's just great defensive play right there. Doesn't get any better than that. Anticipation as a result of film work.
That was really the first strong stop of the day by this Cougars defense. Harris awaits the punt. Low snap. Whitford gets it away. And Harris the fair catch at the 44. 41-yard boot. Still time for the air raid. They hope to get it back on this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Fox College Football is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Coca-Cola. Share the magic this season with an ice-cold Coca-Cola. And by the all-new crew-ready Cadillac XT6. I think we have problems at home, maybe?
It will not cease until the crisis shall have been reached and passed.
What makes rivalry weekend so special. I noticed the guy's doing most of the listening.
That's it, baby.
That's smart. That's smart. Yes, dear. Underneath, that's Harris.
Official with a nice screen block there.
Gets it up to midfield. That's a gain of 6, so it'll be 2nd and 4.
They say pick plays are illegal, but he's not going to call it on himself. There's official there. He's getting out of the way, man. He'll take that every time.
I like that sound effect. That was very raftery-like of you. Ooh, Timmy B. Man to bin. Or is that, well, wife to husband? Borgie to about the 46-yard line. Should be enough for a first down.
Yeah, you just get the feel that, Washington State is doing their best impersonation of Washington here, but they're going to, like a lit fuse, get them comfortable with that 3-man rush, not being as aggressive, and then try to take a shot upfield. A cover 1 type look with the single safety shows you there's more people around the line of scrimmage, but they're now 2 deep safety. They'll roll into a single now. Wow.
Gordon directing traffic. Now lets it fly. Wow. Too high. Intercepted. Trent McDuffie.
Moving down the field is an interception. First down, Washington.
He was trying to float the ball over the head to Borgie over there, and he got the ball a little bit too much air underneath it. And you can see where his target was. He was looking for his back. 21 downfield. Didn't put enough over the top of it, underneath it rather.
Spencer, sometimes your own talent will belie you. He can throw the ball from so many different angles. That time, he almost came submarine with that. The pass was thrown on almost a submarine style, and immediately the ball just flailed into the air much higher than he wanted it.
That's why it's so important to play within the construct of this system, because the air raid is predicated on knowing that you cannot cover 100% of the field on any play.
3rd turnover committed by Washington State.
Wow.
And that ultimately will be the difference in any game. Jahad Woods with the tackle there after a 5-yard pickup. You cannot afford to put the ball in the other team's hands that often. You see some good sportsmanship and good teammates there. Lucas coming over to talk with his quarterback.
Now, from a strategy standpoint, if you're Washington, you want to take every bit of an opportunity to kind of roll this over, take all the air out of this Washington State team, keep this offense off the field, and take your time and run this football.
And Trent McDuffie breathing hard over there after that interception and return, a 29-yard return after the pick. Ahmed. Skylar Thomas shoved him out. 23 yards and a first down. Washington looking strong and looking to put a period on this one.
You want to be a cameraman? Think twice.
Nick Prescott bounces right back up, though. Ready to go.
Way to go, Nick.
Give me some more, Nick. Wave home. There you go. He'll be calling for makeup later. First and 10 from the 14. Good penetration that time.
From that right side. But again, you got to go back to what Bush Hamdan, the offensive coordinator, told us on the phone. He says, we've gotten Salvon Ahmed a home run hitter. It may not come but to the 16th, 17th carry of a game, but he's got to have patience enough to go get it. And he's delivering big time.
He said we need to rely on the running game. We need to grind better on the offensive front. I think he's seen a lot of that today from his offensive line. Navalu being one of those, pressed into starting duties for the injured Jason Kirkland.
Well, Chris Peterson was clear with us. He says we were so disappointed. We didn't run the ball very well last week. Well, they've turned the table this week for sure.
They sure have. Pitch to the wide side to Ahmed. It is there. Thomas again runs him out. 25.
Wade Cotton did a wonderful job on Marcus Strong, the cornerback, to take that angle away from him and leave that outside unflanked.
We mentioned earlier both of these teams bowl eligible, but you do get a better one at 7-5 than you would at 6-6.
No question. That matters come recruiting time.
Yeah, and it also matters to win 7 in a row of these. Eason on 3rd and 1. He's got a 1st and goal. At least I thought at first glance he did. He may be a little shy.
Now coming 3 straight running downs.
It's 4th down. I thought he was.
I thought he was going to get it.
I did too. But a late surge from Washington State defensively.
Wow.
I question that mark too, by a lot. Chris Peterson at this stage is probably thinking, well, one more play means more time off the clock.
Got a long line to work with there. It may be a half a foot. It looks like it.
All they need is a field goal to make it a 3-score game. It is 4th and 1.
But I bet you they want a 1st down more than a field goal.
Maybe.
Right now.
Yeah, good timeout. They're going to discuss it. 6:45 left. Washington looking to keep their streak alive in the Apple Cup. Business as usual for Jimmy Lake's Washington defense today against the air raid of the Pirate. Look at that, Spence. That's just amazing.
Indeed, all is quiet on the Western Front insofar as points scored against his defense. He mentioned it. Remember, I hope they change nothing, Timmy.
This was after last year's. This quote came after the 6th straight Apple Cup win. Hopefully he remains here for a long time. I think that the detractors, obviously, of Leach, and there are many, we all have them, would be that Mike is going to do what Mike always does. And that's just, the guy transformed the game in so many ways with Hal Mumme, but if you get pressure up the middle, that's been the key, Spencer, is if they get pressure up the middle on the quarterback, that disrupts everything.
Well, it does, and I think the success with this offense, if you're on defense, is to first of all define what constitutes success against the air raid. You're not going to stop them, but that 13 points that you talked about is reflective of the last 6 games.
Yeah.
Not one of them they've been able to score over 17. So that becomes a new standard, and nobody else in the conference, 10 other programs, have been able to do that. In fact, there's double digits as the next closest team in terms of defense. So holding them under 17 points in the last 6 outings is an unqualified success if you're Jimmy Lake.
1st and 10 for Washington State, trailing by 18 with 6:35 left, and they're going to be winging it the rest of the way. Borghi. Oh, boy, did he get doctor at the 27-yard line by Bryant.
Goodness.
That was some hit. Gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
Ryan brought a pair of bricks in his pants, man. With that one, he came hell-bent for election. Feel that up here.
Gordon, again, when he has this much time, it's usually not good.
Yeah, there's going to be a penalty playing man coverage back here. That man under concept, he just couldn't sort it out, could Gordon.
Penalty flag is down way upfield.
Defense, number 16. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
That's Cameron Williams, the freshman from Bakersfield.
Yeah, they caught him, and again, it was man coverage. So the man under concept, when you see that single safety up there, it's kind of like a, what we call a 1-free. There's only one guy that has no responsibility. Everybody else is playing zone, a combination of man coverage up top. And you can see, again, he just grabs him, you know?
Yeah, and that's 40 yards away from the line of scrimmage. It winds up being a 10-yard penalty.
3-man rush. Everybody's back. Should have plenty of time to throw.
Well done to Patman. Just short by a football length of a 1st down.
Yeah, Jimmy Lake content to give him that zone look, and they'll play pitch and catch all day and make them earn it.
And the clock goes tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
2nd and 1. McIntosh now joins Borghi in the backfield. Underneath to McIntosh for a first down. Let's go down to Coley Harvey. You've got more on Anthony Gordon, don't you?
Yeah, you know, Tim, I want to say it's about 2 drives ago, we noticed right after Gordon came off the field, he went in the tent, and we're not sure exactly what might have happened, but it looks like he's got a fresh wrap around his left ankle, and if you look at him, he's hobbling around a little bit, at least for the last drive or so.
Pump fake. Batted down. Right. He's going to McIntosh, and it was batted down by Latu, 56.
Latu got that mid up there. Again, they had games. See if he's standing in the pocket. You really can't see the point that Coley was making. Yeah, well,
right there, that
little hitch in his get along there after release.
Yeah, the flinch.
And again, there's nobody pressuring him, so you can definitely see he's favoring that ankle.
And it is freshly wrapped.
Yeah, he's got that big gauze underneath that tape job.
2nd and 10 from the 48. Bryant comes on a blitz. Borghi goes right where he was. Has the first down at the 34-yard line of Washington. A 14-yard pickup. Cameron Williams the stop.
Late pressure came over, gave Borghi a chance to make a guy miss an open space. And you know, these guys have been so aggressive. It's hard to criticize anything they did, but you put the bat cape on like that, you don't have great run fits, you're going to get gashed.
10 carries for 50 yards for Borghi. Underneath again to Patman. He's down to the 25. He'll need the 24 as the line to make for a first down.
Basic staple, the mesh, when those 2 receivers underneath cross, they're typically going to sit down pretty quick. Easy throw for Anthony Gordon.
Underneath, shallow cross to Bell. That's the first down at the 20.
I come right back with the same formation and hit your back. Borghi was open that time, and I think he'll be open again if they want to go that way.
Haven't heard a lot from Aesop Winston Jr. today.
No.
They have had him really negated. Gordon flushed.
Throws it away.
Well, Spencer, at that time he was flushed from the pocket.
Pass across the line of scrimmage. 2nd down.
It looked like he was outside the box too. You can tell he's got
a little hitch in his get along. Yeah. You can tell.
But I'm not seeing the receivers come back to the ball as often as I'm sure they as coaches would like to see.
Well, I think part of that was when they started effectively getting to the quarterback there. Last time I counted, there were like 5 quarterback sacks, Tim.
Yeah.
And when you get that kind of collective pressure, protection becomes paramount, and you don't want to spend that time getting receivers downfield.
On 2nd and 10, underneath Patman again. I mean, everything's a check down, everything's underneath 5 yards, and that's something Washington will give up. Wellington with a stop, and they've really struggled in the red zone today.
Yep, you make trips down there.
Washington State, their first of the half. This will be a full timeout.
8 more first downs than Washington, but 18 points behind Washington. Fox College Football is sponsored by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Take a look now at the road ahead. Our Coors Light road ahead. You see Washington, Utah, Washington State, Arizona State. Longest active bowl streaks. That's a big thing to keep going and means a lot to both of these programs, and particularly to the Huskies, a team that have been, I think, going into most seasons in recent years, considered the powerhouse of the conference. This is really an aberration, I think, for Chris Peterson.
Yeah, going bowling for Chris Peterson is a tradition. You know, in his first 13 seasons, his teams have gone bowl games 13 times.
By aberration, I mean being 7-5. This is a 9 or 10 win program almost
every year.
Every year. Competing for major bowls, college football playoff opportunities. Gordon, pump fake, now needs help.
He's hurt.
And he's got a lot of room, but he can't run. Lets it fly back in the end zone, 50-50. Is it? Incomplete. Boy, that had a chance to be caught. Elijah Molden has got to break it up, but Patman
comes up limping a little bit. He had a chance at it.
He did. And that was clear that Gordon could not run because he had wide open spaces if he had wanted to. Patman really had it in his grasp, could not hang on.
You got 8 guys on the back end and just 3 rushing, so it was a prayer to be sure.
4th down. This could be the curtain call for Jimmy Lake's defense.
Yes, sir.
69% conversion rate on 4th down for Leach's team.
Post corner. Let's see.
In trouble.
Wow.
And it's over on downs. Great defense by Washington. Absolutely stellar in that sequence. And Potoa'e with a lot of pressure that time.
Yeah, that's one thing that this offense doesn't necessarily have. When you get in the end zone, using their complementary routes that tell the backs or the receivers in this particular case to take it to the end zone and then go horizontal the same direction. You've got action going on behind it with Dontavian Martin and company trying to make something happen, but Gordon is not in a physical state to be able to take advantage of that ability. These receivers are trying to get open, but they've got a quarterback that's nicked up, immobile, not able to affect the move. And Coach Lake is saying, hey, we did it again, man. 7 is a lucky number.
Yeah. Well, the scribes in the locker room can be looking for a quote monster in the aftermath of tonight. We'll see if that makes news. Ahmed takes it ahead. You know, Chris Peterson, we've known for a long time, Spencer, and the ultra competitor. And I think the days at Boise when he was the underdog, you know, that was incredible what he did in building that program. But now at Washington, for lack of a better term, we'll just call it he's a big dog now. You know, you got to get comfortable being the big dog. And, well, he's done that. Look at that. Lucas over there again to talk with his quarterback.
Abraham plays that right tackle spot for him. And again, the left tackle is the guy that's typically protecting the blind side, but that right side has been awesome.
Ahmed spun down back at the 15-yard line. Huge day coming up tomorrow.
Oh, doctor.
Rivalry week is going to be special. Big noon Saturday. The game of the week, number 1 Ohio State, the Buckeyes battling number 13 Michigan. Then Spencer and I and Coley will be coming to you from the farm, Stanford and Notre Dame, followed by Bedlam. Number 7 Oklahoma takes on number 21 Oklahoma State at 8 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Are you boating down south?
I wish I could. That was some trip we had today. One of the highlights of our entire season.
Never done that before. That was really cool.
Yeah. And by the way, we should mention as Ahmed breaks outside, marker down as he's shoved out of bounds. I want to thank the fine people here at the University of Washington for the hospitality shown us this holiday week. Wonderful people here, and this setting is absolutely majestic. I know it's your first trip here. I've been lucky enough to be here one other time with Brady Quinn. It is the greatest setting.
Well, when the sun kisses those mountains.
Offense number 2, half the distance from the previous spot. Replay, 3rd down.
I use this term, Spencer, a Norman Rockwell painting. If you look at, as you mentioned, the sun hitting as it does when it's going down the top of these snow-covered mountains, hard to beat when you have water to go along with mountains. That's pretty special.
It'll be 4th down. Washington State has also elected that the game clock will start.
That's where we were sailgating.
Since the game clock is inside of 2 minutes.
You know, boats have names, and the one I saw was most telling was not the Beaver there, but
well, we were
Mutual Funds.
We were on Destiny.
Yeah.
Those guys did a marvelous job for us. Our many thanks, and we recommend. Here it is.
It's leaving without you, Tim.
Thought for a minute we were going to have a Titanic moment. Fair catch is called by Harris.
I was ready to dive in.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Notre Dame tomorrow, Spence. Stanford's had a tough year, lost in their entire offensive line. They've started 4 different freshmen. But Notre Dame with another chance to have a 10-win season. That would be, I think, the first time that they've had 3 consecutive 10-win seasons since, gosh, Holtz was coaching.
And you made a great point last night when we were talking about it. I mean, this is a rivalry now. There's academic implications to it, but also historic from the standpoint of when they booked this.
Right.
It's important. These teams were relevant.
Well, and they've got a lot of kids, Notre Dame does, from that part of California. And they love to showcase them in that home-and-home series. And David Shaw, they don't make him much better than that guy.
He's the best, man.
Look forward to that game tomorrow, right after Michigan and #1 Ohio State. That pass underneath to Easop Winston Jr. He stopped at the 41-yard line.
And speaking of that game, again, I think we can't say enough about the job Coach Kelly's done. I mean, look, at Notre Dame, it's noted. It's a tough place. It's always national championship or bust at that program. But going back to his days at Cincinnati, Tim, I've not seen anybody navigate tougher waters than he has. I take my hat off to him as well.
Yep. After they lost that game, and it was a bad loss to Michigan.
Oh, no question about it.
They really did right themselves, and that speaks volumes, I think, for the leadership of Brian. And look, we talked about the academic requirements at Notre Dame. They're immense, just as they are at Stanford. Little bubble screen out to Harris, just shy of midfield.
Just not able to get anything past that 5-yard threshold.
Washington State, their second charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
The crowd, I think, was ready to get to the 19th hole or back to the boats where the libations are located. They're going to have to wait a little while longer. Who do you like in the Michigan-Ohio State game? You know, the Wolverines have really played well of late for Harbaugh.
They really have. I just can't go away, not see more from Chase Young and company. I do believe, like some others, that he is an elite player and should be in New York City for the Heisman Trophy. I think and I understand that he's missed time. He's missed a couple of games. I get it.
Yeah.
But I like that kid. He's a dynamic game changer.
He is, no question. Be interesting to see if Coach Gaddis can get that Michigan offense going, sizzling again. Borghi.
Yep.
Spun down at the 47-yard line by Elijah Molden, and a late flag comes down. Some taunting after the fact, which can happen from time to time.
Molden playing the game, and Borghi comes off again. He's that left ankle turned on that play, and he winces down there. And there's some extra shoving going on down there as well. Dontavian Martin, that ex-receiver, blocking out there for him.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 19. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, automatic first down. This is number 19's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
That's the redshirt freshman Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, I don't know if that was him or not, but I think it was Dontavian Martin, number 1, the ex-receiver that got the hand to the face.
Will begin on the snap because the game clock is under 2 minutes, and there's an excessive foul.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you thought Martin initiated it.
Yeah.
That's as is sometimes the case. They see the retaliatory act as opposed to the first. From the 31, Gordon playing on a leg and a half. Gets it to Easop Winston.
I thought Mike was going to go to his option game, the hook and ladder, man. He had the trail back outside of him.
And he's going to call a timeout. He won't let him count it down.
He won't.
This is how you swing the sword when things aren't going. Our friend Bruce Feldman, who helped him with that best-selling book. I don't think of anyone that knows Mike any better.
Come on, man.
That's Mike being Mike. Chris knows that. Tell you another great aspect of this final weekend of the regular season in terms of the Pac-12, Spencer, will be the plight of Utah. We've seen them 2 of the last 4 games that they've played, and they've got a real opportunity in front of them.
Yep, they've got a couple of Lombardi Award Lombardi Honor finalists among them.
2nd and 6. And that'll do it as Bell gets tagged, and Washington wins for the 7th consecutive time in the 112th renewal of the Apple Cup. And congratulations to Lake Stevens, Washington's own Jacob Eason. This is a very important win for him. And Spencer, I'll be curious to see the direction the Georgia transfer goes in with his future now, because he has a chance to return if he so chooses.
Well, no question about it. He's got a big arm, he's got a quick decision, and he's got savvy. You know, the fact that he's been patient, and this year, 5,000 plus yards running, we'll see through the air what he does.
Down with Coach Peterson, here's Coley.
All right, Coach, you guys are now 6-0 in the time that you've been here in the Apple Cup.
Yeah.
What does that mean to have that number in this rivalry?
Well, it's important to this state, so we take a lot of pride in that. Our guys do, obviously. They play hard, and, you know, good team win.
Why are you guys so successful against them?
You know, that's a great question. I think it's not any one thing. It's a bunch of things. You know, our defense has been really, really good against this offense. And I think our offense plays complementary ball to it, so it's been a good combination.
Yeah, well, we saw what Coach Lake had to say last year after this game. I'm not going to ask you about that, but the fact that your defense was able to limit them again, and it's been an explosive offense all year on that side.
Yeah,
what did that mean?
Yeah, they did another really good job of mixing it up and hold these guys to 13 points, one of the leading, you know, scoring teams in the country. I mean, it's impressive. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, last thing for you, Jacob, what made him so good today?
Well, you know, he got a chance to set his feet and give the receivers a chance to make plays, and, you know, I think we got really solid receivers, and if he can do that, they're going to make plays for him.
All right, congratulations to you, Coach.
All right, Coley, thank you. There's the Apple Cup. It was once the Governor's Cup. It became the Apple Cup in 1962, and it will continue to reside here in Seattle at Husky Stadium. Our final 31-13. Enjoyed it here, really did. Our producer Jake Jolivet, director Mitch Riggin, thanks to everyone on our crew. Max Linewan, our associate director. Spencer Tillman with yours truly and Coley Harvey. We had so much fun. I think we'll play two.
Let's do it again.
Do it again. Why
not?
not?
This is impressive. Thoroughly enjoyed the water, man. You did a great job out there, by the way, in the open.
Well, fans get it, players have it, pass it around. Everyone gets to enjoy the Apple Cup trophy. And this is what separates the college game versus all other levels, Spencer. It's your way of life versus their way of life.
Well, it ain't bragging if you do it. You know, if you're able to perform at that level. I always used to enjoy telling people I never lost to Texas, never lost to Oklahoma State. You know, boy, that's fun. To be able to claim that, that has implications when it comes to recruiting time.
Yes,
Tim.
it does. And I never lost a debate.
Oh, man.
It's a beautiful scene here in Seattle. Two outstanding games on Fox today, and a lot more to come tomorrow. Cannot wait to watch the guys on the big noon kickoff in Ann Arbor. Rob Stone and company will get it going. And then Gus and Joel will have the matchup, and Jenny Taft and the game of the day, the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines. There's the presentation. Take it all in, fellas. We will join you from the farm after the Michigan-Ohio State game tomorrow. And don't forget Bedlam, Cowboys and Sooners. All of that coming your way tomorrow. Our final 31-13. Coming up after the break, we will send you to Mike Hill in Los Angeles, along with Petros Papadakis for more football coverage. For now, so long from Seattle.